All right, how's everyone doing? So, I created another topic and stuff. This one's a little more deep and in depth, but it's something that I feel can reach out to someone who's going, through this specific part in their life, which a lot of people are. Um, who better than me to speak about it? I've been through it firsthand. So it's the main topic is on depression, right? So there's different keys and guides I have that could help. So all right, so with depression, then separation and self doubt, right? Uh, Depression it's a whole world in itself. There's different kinds of depression. It's it could be with trauma stuff that you haven't processed yet, and maybe you're not ready. It's okay. That's a lifetime change sometimes, and but it's going through the motions is the hard part of changing and getting help and stuff, and uh maybe in your own way you deal with it different, right? But it's dealing with it in a positive manner. It's there's difference in dealing with it because you can feel like you're dealing with it, but then you're doing it in a negative way, not so healthy, which it's that's important to do it healthy. uh, so with the self-doubt, I find something I'm trying to work on too is looking in the mirror daily, when you wake up, when you're brushing your teeth or something, just remind yourself, look yourself in the eyes and say, I'm worth it, I'm worthy, you know I'm worth everything, you're a life force, you're a living breathing thing and you matter. uh and So with separation, of the other key point is taking a step back and asking yourself what's changed, and what what's there that wasn't before. Let's say someone else has entered your life, which can be a big impact, on a negative part or positive, but maybe relationships, you weren't ready, or stuff like that. um but again, that's just part of the topic. But I mean, because that stuff can have a big impact on your emotions, can have a lot of anxiety, which can lead to depression. um but it's taking a step back and reminding yourself, okay, this stuff's going on. It's hard. It's we're in the motions. We're in the midst of whatever crisis is going on in our life, and taking that step back and saying, you know, no doesn't mean forever. It just means not right now. Meaning it's not going to be there forever. It's going to change. There's going to be uplifts. They might be shorter than the downlifts, but it's you gaining the coping skills to work through them, so that when you go through those down slips, you have the tools necessary to get through them, right? Which is, I think, what a lot of people, they're going through it on their own, and they don't, it's not that they necessarily don't want to get the help. It's just they're independent. Their mindset's different, and they want to, either they don't want to trouble people with it, you know, or stuff like that. But it's key to communicate. Communication is key. If you're going through something, don't bottle that in. I know how that ends. What all it takes in. But it's a process, and that's another key word. But so let's see what else I have. So for the depression too, I have, it's events over time, right? It's depression. It can come out of a split, right? But a lot of times it derives from stuff that in past, experiences, uh, stuff that was, traumatic, a lot of trauma and stuff like that. But it's that's the other keyword, process. That stuff, it's like grieving. In a way, your body's grieving. You're getting through stuff, and that can be a lot of weight, a lot of pressure, feeling like it's not gonna, fan out the way you want it to, you know, um, and also being aware how that's affecting you, like being aware, like what your body's telling you and what you're going through. Like it's important to try to gain those skills over time. That way you can prevent something before it gets too much. Maybe doing an act of something that you might regret. Not necessarily like you intentionally meaning to, but like something unintentionally. And that can become dangerous. And it's knowing those signs, paying attention. And I have a few things toward the end of this topic that could help out with that. If that's something you're lacking and you need coping skills, stuff like that. That's very key stuff, Let's start processing. Okay. All right, now I guess to the guide to help you through like your current depression or whatever you're going through. I mainly like revolve this around like self-harm stuff, but there's, like I said, there's different types of depression, not necessarily like self-harm and stuff, but it's a big world in itself with that. So doing things to take your mind off things in a positive manner. There's that keyword, positively. You can take your mind off of stuff. Like I said, it might not be healthy, which is ideally like the one you want to steer away from. It's the easiest one to do, but the hardest one is positive. I know it sounds like I'm preaching, but I want to make sure this gets out to someone who needs to hear it. This is for the people who are going through stuff. The others who got their stuff, in order, or who are able to handle the stuff without having other people help them or guide them, this video's not for you. It's for those who are, struggling, right? So more on that. Doing stuff in a positive manner. I have 3 key points with that. Journaling daily, right? So journaling is, I call it an escape, a healthy escape, depending on how you're journaling. But it's good to get those emotions out there. Like if you don't want to, at the moment, talk with somebody about it, journaling is a great stress reliever. It leaves you ending most of the times where you feel like a weight is lifted off your shoulder, right? Because you're just writing it all down. You're getting that energy out on paper. And you can go back later and, review how your thought process was, and what you can work on from that. So you're learning from yourself by writing, you're studying yourself, to become a better you, which is, ideally what you want, right? To grow, to become better, more confident, strong person. Meditation. So I was, in the past in martial arts, and this is, it's more into other stuff, but like meditation is wonderful. It's a wonderful thing. There's a good old friend. He passed away a while back. Very, very wise, very wise. He taught me, it's before you meditate, you want to stretch, get your body loose. It's like, getting your mind relaxed, right? Prepared for the journey, right? Because meditation is like a journey. You're entering a peaceful state, right? So you can meditate. I called it ×2 meditation. So 2 different ways is what that means. Meditate by practicing drowning things or noises out. right? So that's, a common thing people meditate with, right? It's blocking everything out, focusing on that breathing, focusing on, getting in that mindset. There's that keyword again, mindset. And then the other one is, when you're meditating, take everything in, right? If you're meditating outside, inside, it's the same thing, when it comes to this. It's paying attention to your heart rate. How are you breathing? What are you thinking, right? It's taking that in. So when you're taking everything in all at once like that, your senses are heightened, right? Because we're animals, naturally we are animals, and it's heightening your senses, and you're being more aware. That's the other key thing, becoming aware, So in this, it's teaching you, like, to be aware of what your body's telling you, right? That's the other key thing, is how this helps. It's like, okay, I'm not feeling that good today. Okay, well, what's changed? What's different? Like, man, I didn't do anything today. Well, maybe journal, right? Kind of get your feelings out. Have a list of objectives, like long term and short term. A good family member, had me do this, and it helps. It gives you something to work toward, right? To progress on, and becoming a better you. So the last point on this is talking and letting people around you know what's going on. Okay, I know it's last thing no one wants to hear when they're going through stuff, right? But when you get to that point, it's better for someone to know what's happening. That way they can help guide you. And because having a support group is, a lot of people don't have that, so it's kind of subjective. But it's, growing that, growing a foundation of people you can trust and, be comfortable with talking, with your issues and stuff. But there's the other keyword. Communication is key. But yeah, I just want to end this on the note of, whatever you're going through, just don't be afraid to talk about it. Just make sure it's with someone you know who will listen and have your back and trust you, and you trust them. Because depression it's not easy. There's so many different things that factors into the way you're feeling or what you've gone through, but the journey it's hard, right? But I just hope, whoever's going through something, depression, or, even just with anger, because that can turn into depression, because maybe the person, they're so angry that they're angry that, over time, when you stop becoming angry, that turns into sadness, right? Because let's say you don't want to hurt somebody emotionally or physically, right? That turns into depression, sadness, but one thing I've learned from my journey, through getting help, it's those places where you go get help, if you, hurt yourself or something, you get committed into a mental institution, right? Those places, they're there to help, and it's like a safety net, right? Places like that, I'm glad exist, because they help you. It's gives you a foundation to work off of, right? Maybe you haven't had those skills before, but after you leave, eventually you gain those skills. And again, I know I'm talking a lot, but I've been having something, speaking to me lately. I feel it's like the Lord's Spirit, man. He's just, I want to help people, and I don't get out that much to, you know, meet many people, right? Because we're all learning, we're all going through stuff. Maybe we're in a ruts in our life that we're having a hard time get out of, right? It's putting your foot down and taking that first step. It's the biggest, you know, it's the hardest one. There's a quote, you know, it's words are words, you know, unless you take that step. That's the first step being the hardest. It's the beginning of your journey of self-healing, you know, and like it's powerful stuff, but you know, I hope this video finds somebody, you know, and I might not make them all the time, but when it hits and I feel someone out there is, you know, going through something, I just want you to know that you got this. You know, it's going to be a process, but you got this. You know, keep your head up. You know, keep trying. Keep pushing forward. You know, and eventually, you know, what you're doing, like my brother told me in a sentence, your focus becomes your reality, right? You know, and if you keep trying, you keep pushing, eventually something's going to, you know, come answering on that door. You know, something's going to come in, you know, into your life that's going to bring a positive outcome that you might not thought would have came, right? And, you know, just letting you know you're not alone. You know, you got people who are going through, you know, the same thing or worse, but just keep trying, all right? All right. Someone knocking on my door. But, all right, well, y'all have a good rest of the day. All right, peace.